Hello there. Welcome to another episode of the Catalyst Innovation Series. My name is John Deritu, and I'm going to be your instructor. So we already talked about what an innovation is. We already talked about what it takes to be innovative. We have talked about what a startup is and how it is different from other normal businesses. Earlier in the course, we also talked about what innovation is and what invention is, and the differences, and sometimes how they combine to come up with disruptive innovation. So in this series, I want to talk about this episode, rather, I want to talk about who is a founder. You probably have heard that word thrown around. Who is a founder and who is a CEO? Do they mean the same thing? Am I a founder? Are you a founder? Who is a founder? Let's find out in this episode. In the previous episode, we talked about a startup. And we said a startup is what me as an innovator, I use to turn my idea into a product or a service that I can deliver to the people who are going to use it. For every idea, for every product that I develop, or for every service that I build, there must be those people that I am building for. Don't build things for the whole planet. You build it for specific people. You build a solution for teachers. You build a solution for students in high school. So very specific people. So if I'm the one comes up with the idea and takes the necessary steps to turn this idea into a product that works, I am a founder. So a founder is the person, or it could be me and my friends, or me and my brother, right? So it could be just me or a couple of people. It's us who create and establish a startup. A startup is a form of company that is temporary, as mentioned in the previous episode. So a founder is the person or the people who have the initial idea and actually take steps to realize that idea into something that works. They are the originators of the idea and are responsible for bringing the initial vision to life. They typically start the business, they conceive the idea, they find the problem that needs to be solved, they brainstorm on possible solutions, they develop that solution, and they make the effort to deliver that solution to the market. They're the people who take the early risks. They often invest their time, their hard-earned money, and resources to get that idea and that startup business off the ground to actually making some impact. They shape the culture of that startup business. Remember, they are the people who start. I want you to look at it like this: a founder and foundation, right? They are the two things. They come at the very early stage, right? They are the foundation, right? So a founder lays the foundation of the business, of the startup, of what it's going to be, of the culture that's going to be established, of the culture in that business going onwards. So they set the company's mission, values, and other forms of direction. A founder may stay or leave with the company, right? They may start the idea, and after it works, they may decide they don't want to be part of that idea anymore, or they might continue sticking around. There's a lot of stories of people, of founders, great founders who started really good startups, and once they reached a certain level, they left the organization and went to start other things. So they can't stay or choose not to stay involved, right? And an example is Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak are the founders of were the founders of Apple, right? They did that. They started the business. They took the early risk. They shaped the culture, and uh, they stayed involved, over time. So looking at that example and now understanding who a founder is, then who is a CEO and what is the difference? So a CEO is an employee. A CEO is the highest level of an employee in a startup. They are responsible for making major decisions and they are responsible for the day-to-day operations, not necessarily the vision and the mission. They could, but their key mandate is to manage the daily operations and ensure the company achieves the goals. A CEO reports to the board and acts as a bridge between the company's operations, employees, human resource, daily logistics, and the board of directors. They represent the company. They are the face, the public face of that company. And they may or not be the founders. They may or may not have been at the start of the business. They may or not have been there to take the early risks. They are employed. So a CEO can be the founder of the company or someone hired to lead it. At the early stages, when you are coming up with an idea and building that idea, you are the founder and the CEO of that idea, of that startup you're building. As you grow and now you have employees, you have whole different forms of teams, you can employ a CEO to run the daily operations. I hope that example makes a difference. For example, Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple, but he's not a founder of Apple. So what are the characteristics? What does it take to be a good startup founder? You have established that you're very innovative, that you are willing to try and figure out solutions that people are facing. I've also established that in order to do this in a structured manner, you use a startup company as a vehicle to deliver that product or service or process into the actual market. So what are the characteristics that you need internally in order to be able to do that? Can everyone just be able to do that? Are there qualities that you need? The first key roles of being a startup founder is that you are the idea generator. You come up with the initial concept, you find the problem that needs to be solved, and you find solutions to solve that problem. So you are a problem solver. You are the decision maker. You make critical decisions about the direction. You are the one most oftenly going to go and fundraise. You're the one going to pitch and ask for funding. You are going to be the one building teams to come and help you work on that idea that you have. So there's a lot of things that you have to do as a startup founder. In order to be able to do these very intensive things, there are qualities that you need to have and to build consistently. The first thing is visionary thinking. A startup founder needs to be able to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You're a problem solver, not a problem generator. You need to be able to see opportunities. When others were seeing COVID-19 as a pandemic that's going to break people, others chose to see it as an opportunity to build meaningful solutions. You need to be the latter, a visionary thinker. You need passion and drive. I can guarantee you that if you're not passionate about your ideas, if you're not passionate about what you're trying to build, you're not going to convince anyone to be passionate about it. Are you willing to work tirelessly and make it a reality? It's not a smooth curve from just an idea to something that's generating revenue and all of that. There are valleys, there are obstacles. It takes passion and drive to be able to brave that. Are you able to take risk? A startup, one of the characteristics that you said about a startup is high risk. Are you a risk taker? Founders are willing to take risks, whether it's financial, it's personal, or professional. There's a lot of startup founders who even take a lot of risks. They sleep in that office, find their mattresses there. As a personal, they are sacrificing a lot because of the passion and the drive to really pursue that vision. And one of the biggest quality of a startup founder, and if you don't have this, if you don't build this, you're not going to survive, is resilience. Founders have to be resilient because of the many curveballs that life throws at them. They face a lot of setback, rejections 100 times over, and obstacles. If you're not resilient to continue pushing, you're not going to survive it. You're going to waste a lot of time and effort. When one person tells you it's not going to work, you're going to leave all that spent time and effort be wasted. You have to be creative and innovative. Founders are not afraid to challenge the status quo. They are not driven by assumptions. They think outside the box. They think, who said that a car should only have 4 wheels? What if it had 5 wheels? What if a car could fly? I mean, they are innovative. They challenge what people think that is known. They are adaptable. They must possess leadership skills because at the end, they're going to be leading teams to build these ideas that they have. If they are not a leader, how are they expected? How are you expected to manage your employees or manage the people who come to help you work on your idea? You need to be resourceful. Resources are always scarce. Resourcefulness means being able to do more, a lot more with very little. You need to be able to make the most out of limited resources. Your networking and communication skills, you need to build that. If you're going to convince somebody to invest their hard-earned money into your idea, if you're going to convince bright people to come and help you work on your idea, then you need to be able to be very good at communication. You need to be able to build your communication skills. And more than that, they are long-term focused, right? So I'm trying to move myself up. They are long-term focused. They don't just look at tomorrow. They look at where are we going to be in the next 2 years. Founders are committed to the long-term success. For them, it's a marathon. And most importantly, they are customer-centric. They don't build solutions for themselves. They build it for those who need it the most. They are customers. They are always asking their customers, how can we make our solution better? How can we serve you better? They are customer-centered. They never betray their customers. Based on these qualities, based on the roles of a founder, do you think you have what it takes to be a good founder? Are you a good founder? Are there qualities that you are lacking that you know very well if you improved on, you will be able to move to the next level? Until we meet again, thank you so much.